All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're tackling brain power.
Boosting brain power, yes, but not the way you might be thinking.
Yeah, none of that textbook stuff, right?
Right, no all-nighters or anything.
More like, I don't know, finding those little aha moments
Exactly.
that make learning fun,
Yes.
like leveling up in a video game.
Yeah.
You ever feel like overwhelmed with all the advice out there on getting smarter? It can make your head spin.
It really can, especially when you're not sure where to begin.
Exactly. So we're going to keep it simple today
That's right, just simple, enjoyable habits.
that fit into everyday life.
Absolutely. We don't need to be superhuman geniuses.
Yeah, no need to cram a lifetime's worth of learning into one night.
That's right. And actually, what's really interesting is that learning doesn't just stop after school.
Yeah.
The more we embrace lifelong learning.
Okay, so ditch the schools out forever mentality.
Exactly.
But what does that look like when we're not in a classroom? Give us something a little more exciting than read more.
Well, think about it this way. Learning a new language, for example.
Okay.
Not only are you expanding your vocabulary, obviously,
Yeah.
but you're also understanding a new culture,
Right.
but you're actually rewiring your brain in the process.
Wait, hold on. Rewiring my brain.
Yeah. Studies actually show that being bilingual can improve memory, even problem-solving skills, and even delay cognitive decline.
Wow. So it's like giving my brain a whole new operating system.
It really is. And it all comes back to this fascinating concept called brain plasticity.
Okay.
Meaning that our brains have this amazing ability to change and adapt throughout our lives.
So the more we challenge it, the better it gets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by doing things like learning a new language, we're creating new pathways and strengthening existing ones.
So what are some other things we could do to kind of tap into that plasticity?
Well, you remember those brain training apps that were really popular a few years ago?
Oh, yeah, those games.
Yeah. It turns out there's real science behind those.
Really? I thought those were just fun little time wasters.
Well, there was a study actually in the journal Nature that found that playing these games, even just 15 minutes a day,
Okay.
5 days a week, led to some pretty amazing improvements.
Like what?
Well, in working memory, attention, even cognitive flexibility in adults.
You telling me my grandma playing Sudoku every morning is giving her a serious mental edge?
Absolutely. These games, particularly the ones that target working memory and attention, can be super effective.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they challenge your brain, process information, quickly make decisions, and adapt to new rules.
So it's not just about learning new facts, but training our brains to think more efficiently.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
Remember we talked about brain plasticity?
Yeah.
Well, even something as simple as reading can have a pretty big impact.
On the physical structure of my brain.
Yeah.
I always knew reading was good for me, but I never knew it could actually change my brain.
Researchers at Carnegie Mellon found that children who were in a reading intervention program showed a significant increase in white matter.
White matter.
Yeah. White matter is basically the wiring that connects different parts of the brain
Okay.
and helps them communicate better.
So reading is like upgrading the internet connection in my brain.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating is that these changes were seen even in children who were struggling with reading before.
Wow.
It really shows that our brains are adaptable and that by doing mentally stimulating activities, we can reshape those neural pathways.
This is incredible. So all these small habits can actually make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But getting started, that's always the hard part, right?
You're right.
So how do we make it easier?
Well, that's where the power of curiosity comes in.
Okay. Everyone loves a good mystery.
Exactly.
Think of curiosity as the key to unlocking the mysteries of your own brain.
I like that.
But how does simply being curious actually translate into better learning?
Well, think about a time when you were really curious about something. Remember that feeling of excitement and the drive to learn more?
Yeah, totally.
Well, when we're curious, our brains actually release dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and reward.
So being curious actually makes our brains happy.
Exactly.
Explains why I love a good conspiracy theory.
Well, there you go. And this dopamine rush actually helps us to focus our attention, to engage more deeply with the information,
Okay.
and remember it more effectively.
So it's not just about wanting to know more. It's about actually creating the optimal brain state for learning.
Exactly. And it gets even better.
Oh, boy.
Because curiosity is not just about passively absorbing information.
Okay.
It's about actively seeking it out,
Got it.
asking questions, challenging assumptions, and constantly pushing the boundaries of what we know.
So it's not just about what we learn, but how we learn.
Precisely.
That mindset seems really powerful.
It is. And the best part is it's a skill we can all work on.
Okay?
The more we practice being curious, the more our brains become wired for exploration and discovery.
So we've talked a lot about mental exercises.
We have.
What about the physical side of things? Does that have anything to do with brain power?
Oh, it absolutely does. In fact, the connection between physical health and brain function is so strong that some researchers are actually calling exercise miracle grow for the brain.
Hold on. Are you saying hitting the gym can actually make me smarter?
It can, but you don't need to be a marathon runner.
Okay, good, because that's not happening.
Even moderate physical activity can have a huge impact.
Really?
Yeah. There was a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that found that older adults who took regular brisk walks had significant improvements in memory and executive function.
Wow. So just a simple walk around the block is as good for my brain as a Sudoku puzzle.
You got it. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, which delivers essential nutrients and oxygen.
Okay.
And it stimulates the release of growth factors that help create new brain cells.
So it's like giving my brain a refreshing energy boost and encouraging it to grow. Are there any specific types of exercise that are better than others? I'm picturing like brain-boosting yoga.
You're on the right track. Any exercise is good, of course.
Yeah.
But activities that involve coordination, balance, and complex movements are especially great for your brain.
Like what?
Like dancing Tai Chi, even rock climbing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. These activities engage multiple areas of your brain at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And force it to work harder and adapt.
So it's not just about physical strength. It's about cognitive strength, too.
Exactly.
This is fascinating. But let's be honest. Sometimes even a short walk feels like a chore.
Yeah.
What are some ways we can make it more fun?
You know, that's a great question. The key is to find things you genuinely enjoy.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be grueling workouts.
Yeah.
Think about activities that bring you joy and can fit into your lifestyle.
Got it.
Maybe it's dancing to your favorite music, or taking a nature hike, or joining a sports team.
I like that.
The important thing is to find ways to move your body that feel good and make you happy.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So it's really all about consistency.
Absolutely. Even short bursts of activity throughout the day can make a big difference.
This is really eye-opening. Taking care of our physical health is just as important as exercising our minds.
It really is.
It's all connected. Wow, we've been going strong for a while now. Let's take a pause and we'll pick back up with more brain-boosting strategies in part 2.
So before the break, we were talking all about exercise and how it's like miracle grow for the brain.
Right.
But it's not just about moving our bodies.
What else is there?
What you eat matters too.
You mean like brain food? Is that a real thing?
It is. Think of it this way. Your brain is like this high-performance machine, right?
Okay.
It needs the right fuel to work its best.
So what kind of fuel are we talking about? Give me the brain-boosting grocery list.
Okay, first up, omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
You can find those in oily fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines.
So my sushi habit is actually good for my brain.
You got it.
Nice.
Those healthy fats are super important for brain cells.
And they play a big role in memory and learning.
What else?
Antioxidants are important too.
Okay.
They protect your brain cells from damage.
From what?
From free radicals.
Free radicals.
Yeah. Think colorful fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Blueberry, strawberry, spinach.
Got it. Add some color to the plate.
Exactly. And don't forget B vitamins.
Okay.
They're essential for energy production and nerve function.
Where can I find those?
Leafy green vegetables,
Yeah.
legumes, whole grains.
So basically, a balanced and colorful diet.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about those late-night cravings? Are there any foods that are actually bad for my brain?
There are some things you might want to avoid.
Like?
Processed foods loaded with sugar, unhealthy fats, artificial ingredients.
Those sound pretty tempting, though.
I know, but they can cause inflammation in the brain.
Really?
Yeah, and that can lead to all sorts of problems, like impairing cognitive function and even contributing to mood disorders.
So it's like a trade-off, right? Short-term pleasure for long-term brain health.
Exactly. Not a great deal.
So it's all about making choices that support your brain.
Okay, so we've talked about food. What about staying mentally engaged? Any tips for preventing our brains from going on autopilot?
That's a great question. Just like our bodies need regular exercise to stay in shape, our brains need constant stimulation to stay sharp.
So how do we keep our brains from becoming couch potatoes?
One way is to constantly challenge yourself with new experiences and information.
Like what?
It could be anything, really. Learning a new skill, traveling to a new place, even just having conversations with people who have different
So
viewpoints.
step outside of my comfort zone.
Exactly.
But what about those times when I'm just mentally exhausted?
That happens to all of us.
Yeah. Are there any low-effort ways to keep my brain engaged?
There are. Have you ever tried mindfulness meditation?
I've heard of it.
But even just a few minutes of focused breathing can do wonders.
Really?
It can calm your mind, reduce stress, and improve your focus.
So taking a break can actually make me more productive.
Exactly. And there's a lot of research that supports this.
Wow.
Studies show that regular meditation can really improve your attention span, working memory, even emotional regulation.
Are there other things I can try?
Well, listening to music is another great one.
Oh, I love listening to music.
Me too. And it turns out it can really boost your brain power.
How so?
Well, studies have shown that it can enhance your mood, reduce stress, and even improve cognitive performance.
So cranking up my favorite tunes can actually make me smarter.
It can.
Is there a certain type of music that's best?
Not really. It depends on your personal preference.
Okay.
The most important thing is that you enjoy it.
Okay, so no need to force myself to listen to classical music.
Exactly. As long as it makes you feel good.
I can do that.
If you want something a little more active, you could try learning to play an instrument.
Okay.
It's a great way to challenge your brain.
You what way?
You're coordinating movements, processing auditory information, and developing fine motor skills all at the same time.
So it's like a full brain workout.
Exactly. But I know learning an instrument can take a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something quicker, try changing up your routine.
My routine.
Yeah. Our brains love novelty and challenge.
Okay.
So even small changes can keep your mind engaged.
Like what kind of changes?
Well, instead of scrolling through your phone on your commute,
Yeah, I do that a lot.
you could try reading a book or listening to a podcast.
Or even striking up a conversation with someone.
Exactly. Those little things can make a big difference.
Because it forces my brain to think differently.
Exactly. You're breaking out of your routine, paying attention, processing new information, and making new connections.
Interesting. So it's not about overhauling my entire life, just finding those little moments to shake things up.
Precisely. And here's something else to think about.
Okay.
The people we spend time with can actually affect our own brain power.
You mean like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Exactly.
Does that really apply to brain power?
It can. When you're around people who are intellectually curious, who love learning, who are open to new ideas,
Yeah.
it creates this stimulating environment.
That encourages my own growth.
Exactly.
It's like brain power is contagious.
You could say that, but it's more than just osmosis. It's
Right.
about the conversations you have.
The back and forth.
Exactly. They challenge your thinking, expose you to new perspectives, help you see the world in new ways.
This is making me rethink who I hang out with.
Well, think about those times when you have conversations with people who have completely different viewpoints than your own.
Okay, those can get a little heated sometimes.
I know, but they can actually be really good for your brain.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those respectful debates and discussions,
Okay.
they can really sharpen your critical thinking skills.
Oh, so.
They force you to examine your own beliefs and articulate your arguments clearly and consider other points of view.
So instead of avoiding those conversations, I should embrace them.
Exactly. But remember, it's not about trying to change anyone's mind or prove you're right.
Okay.
It's about approaching the conversation with an open mind and a genuine desire to understand.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
Those tough conversations can be like weightlifting for the brain.
I like that. Okay, we've covered so much today. What are your final thoughts on boosting brain power?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that it's a holistic journey.
Okay.
It's not about finding one magic solution.
Yeah.
It's about making consistent, mindful choices.
That support my brain's health and well-being.
Exactly.
So it's about creating a lifestyle that nourishes my brain just like I nourish my body.
Exactly. And remember, your brain is incredible. It has so much potential.
Okay.
The more you nurture it, the more it will reward you.
With what?
Increased cognitive clarity, creativity, resilience.
This has been amazing. I'm feeling super inspired.
I'm glad we hear that.
But before we go, I want to emphasize something you said earlier about being patient.
Oh, yes, that's so important.
Because building new habits and rewiring our brains takes time.
It does. Don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
Okay.
Start small, stay consistent, and celebrate your progress.
I love that. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
Exactly.
And it's about enjoying the journey of lifelong learning.
With curiosity and joy.
Absolutely. Learning should be an adventure.
It should be.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring these brain-boosting strategies with us.
It's been a pleasure.
So now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Think about all the things we talked about today and ask yourself, what one new habit are you most excited to try?
That's a great question.
Share your thoughts with us on social media.
We'd love to hear from you.
Keep that curious spirit alive, keep those brains engaged, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.
Until next time.
It's amazing how many things we've talked about that can help boost our brain power.
It really is. From language learning to taking a walk to eating the right foods.
Yeah. We've basically created a toolbox for our brains.
A toolbox full of simple habits.
But I think one of the biggest takeaways for me has been that learning isn't just about, filling our heads with facts.
Right.
It's more about being curious and engaged with the world.
I completely agree. Curiosity is what makes us want to learn and grow in the first place.
And it seems like curiosity isn't just something we're born with, it's something we can actually develop.
Absolutely. The more we practice being curious, the more open we become to new experiences and ideas.
It's like building a muscle, but for our brains.
Exactly. And that muscle helps us understand the world better.
I love that. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to touch on something you mentioned earlier about being patient.
Oh, yes. Patience is key.
Because, let's be real, changing our habits and rewiring our brains, that takes time.
It does.
Yeah.
So don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately.
Right. It's a process.
It is. The important thing is to start small and stay consistent and, celebrate those small wins along the way.
It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress
Exactly.
and enjoying the journey.
And having fun with it. Learning should be an adventure, not a chore.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring these brain-boosting strategies with us.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights.
Now it's your turn to take action.
Yes.
Think about everything we've talked about today and ask yourself, what's one new habit you're excited to try?
What will you do to boost your brain power?
Share your thoughts with us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, keep that curious spirit alive. Keep those brains engaged and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge.
Until next time.